Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily for Thursday, July 17th. I'm your host for today, Riley Fessler, joined as ever by Minna Stein. How are you, Minna?
I'm happy to be here. How are you?
I'm good. I'm back in Ohio for a couple days, so my apologies if I sound different or worse, but I'm
You
doing my
sound more
best.
Ohioan.
My state
Ohioan?
pride is filling my voice. Well, no Ohio news today, unfortunately, but do have quite a few big stories to discuss. The Senate narrowly approved a White House-backed measure to rescind $9 billion in federal spending, mostly targeting foreign aid and public broadcasting, despite objections from some Republicans and strong Democratic opposition. The move marked a rare surrender of congressional budget authority, with critics warning it set a dangerous precedent for executive overreach. Although NPR and PBS will survive, many local public broadcasting stations could face severe cutbacks or closure due to their reliance on federal funding. The vote, which followed political compromises and internal GOP dissent, has intensified partisan tensions ahead of broader government funding negotiations. Terrible. And also just not a smart move from Congress in the when you're thinking long term. Again, as it alluded to in this story, getting kind of ceding your power of the purse to the president, just kind of a baffling decision. Makes sense for the MAGA folks who don't really believe in the separation of powers, but for the rest of the Republicans and certainly the Democrats, obviously this is a terrible idea. We have separation of powers for a reason. There's a reason Congress has power of the purse. And if you're a congressperson, I'm not really sure why you'd want to give up your own power for the whims of this president, because this will continue into future administrations. So not really a smart long-term decision, but few of what the Republicans do, especially under this administration, is. So it's not entirely surprising.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Which of these decisions are good long-term decisions? Just across the board. I don't think I could name any. But to continue on from a story that we covered yesterday, Moren Comey, a federal prosecutor involved in major cases, including those of Jeffrey Epstein, Ghislaine Maxwell, and Sean Diddy Combs, was fired by the Justice Department, though the reason remains unclear. Comey, daughter of former FBI Director James Comey, has recently opposed releasing Epstein-related records, citing potential interference with ongoing legal matters. Her dismissal comes amid political tensions and scrutiny over the Department of Justice's handling of the Epstein investigation. Kind of an interesting development. Obviously, she was against releasing the records, but she was involved in the investigation and was a Ghislaine Maxwell prosecutor. So very much involved in the case, but against releasing it. So, like I said, the reason for her firing remains unclear, although what is clear is it does appear to be meddling in this investigation for political reasons, not because it actually makes sense for the case. So that we do know, but we don't know is what exactly the information that she has is, or, what her role is specifically. But it's just, I don't know. This is the last thing that I thought would splinter the Republican Party in this way. Out of all of the things that have happened, and this is what's like sending them over the edge and creating all of this crazy chaos within their party. I mean, I'd not have this on my 2025 bingo card. That's all I have to say about that.
I didn't either, and I'll actually skip forward to my other Epstein story because unfortunately we have two today, and that is kind of what you're talking about, which is this schism in the party. A Reuters Ipsos poll found that 69% of Americans believe the Trump administration is hiding information about Jeffrey Epstein's alleged clients, with only 17% approving of Trump's handling of the case. Despite earlier promises to release documents, the administration reversed course, frustrating many supporters, including nearly 2/3 of Republicans who share the belief in a cover-up. The backlash has exposed divisions within Trump's political base, especially among those disappointed by the lack of transparency and other perceived policy reversals. Trump has dismissed critics as weaklings and has privately urged MAGA influencers to downplay the controversy and refocus on broader movement priorities. Yeah, I mean, you already said it. I think what's really, I mean, the whole thing is kind of bizarre, but what's surprising is how hard Trump is going after his own supporters. Uh, he's like, why the hell are we talking about this? Calling them
Calling them
weaklings.
idiots.
Yeah, calling them idiots. Not smart, because this is, for whatever reason, a lot of the MAGA base, be it because of QAnon and the kind of the remnants of that movement in the base, but many of them were really passionate about the Epstein list and releasing that. So to just kind of reverse course this late in the game and then immediately smear them, smear the your own supporters, not a smart move. I think at the end of the day they'll probably come crawling back to Trump, because they always do. But this is kind of the biggest schism we've seen among MAGA so far, and it's fascinating that this is what did it. But hopefully it lasts.
I think what's so surprising to me about it, like why it's so surprising, is because, a lot of people in MAGA or people who voted for Trump, like, see Trump as this president who's going to, like, quote unquote, drain the swamp, like this president of transparency. Like he's not one of those politicians. He's just like a regular guy who's going to, uncover all of these like political and government secrets and like make the government not so political or like regime-y. It's going to make it of the people. But there's like so many things that have happened in the administration that have been not transparent. So many things that Trump and his administration has lied to people about. I mean, even if you want to talk about like the way the tariffs have rolled out, like 90 deals in 90 days. Like there's so many things that were promised that haven't happened. The cost of eggs going down, like all of these things. But this specifically is the lie or the thing that lacks transparency that is getting people so upset. To me, the reason why it's surprising is because it's like, yeah, I mean, this is like the sixth thing that's happened that there's been a lie about.
I
But
think
okay,
to be fair, I think one of the reasons is this is something that Trump can directly himself do. It's one of the things that the president can just do. He can just release the files if he wanted to. There's nothing stopping him from doing so. So the fact that there's nothing to hide behind for him. He can't blame Biden. He can't blame somebody else. This is something he can just do, and he's not doing it. So I think even people that don't understand how the executive branch works see that this is bullshit, because there's no reason he can't do it. So there obviously has to be a personal reason why he refuses to do so.
Did they not know that they're were friends? Like there's so many videos of them hanging out together and talking about each other and how great of a guy Epstein is. Trump saying that. I mean, to me, it seems pretty obvious why he doesn't want to release it. But
right. I mean, I agree. But
they were friends.
I think that's maybe why this is hitting so hard for certain people, and also the MAGA base just cares about weird things to begin with. So
Fair enough.
Definitely a big part of it. But I don't know. I can't even begin to try and understand what motivates a MAGA voter to vote the way they do or act the way they do. So anything we say about it will be just idle speculation, essentially.
Fair enough. But to me, this is the least surprising of all of the lies / deceit coming out of the administration. But to move away from the Epstein files, a coalition of 20 Democratic attorneys general filed a lawsuit against the Trump administration for abruptly ending FEMA's Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities program, which funded disaster mitigation projects. The suit argues that the termination was illegal and that FEMA's acting director lacks the required emergency management experience. The cancellation halted over $4.5 billion in approved state projects, prompting the states to seek immediate restoration of the funds to protect against climate-related disasters. This seems like a very good thing to me. Not the cancellation of the funds. The lawsuit seems like a good thing to me. This is horrible. This is definitely not where we wanted to see the government cutting spending. We don't want that money being pulled from FEMA and sent to things like Alligator Alcatraz. That is 100% the wrong thing to do. I think we can all agree on that. And I hope that, in some time we'll be reporting that this lawsuit was successful and that the money is not being pulled. But I'm not going to hold my breath over it. But that's definitely the outcome that I'm hoping for.
It's also smart timing for this lawsuit given the disaster in Texas. So I think it's very wise to be filing this right now. You already are going to have public support for this where you might not normally. And I think they are just also correct, which also helps their case. But I think we're seeing kind of the administration scramble to figure out what to do with FEMA now, given what happened in Texas. So have to hope that this lawsuit is successful.
Texas, but also like wildfires that have been happening out west, flash flooding in our area here in DC, and also like in New York. I think that, obviously those were not as extreme as what happened in Texas, but I think that there's lots of people in lots of different areas in the United States, also as we approach hurricane season, that are going to be wanting and needing this money and this protection. And so I hope that they, get it in time.
And as we said, a lot of red states, which is key as well. Well, going international for our final story, the Syrian government officials and Druze leaders announced a renewed ceasefire after deadly clashes in Sweden. The skepticism remains following a previous failed truce. The violence, which began as a local sectarian conflict, escalated with Syrian government crackdowns and Israeli airstrikes, including rare strikes in central Damascus, intended to protect the Druze minority. Syria's interim leadership accused Israel of trying to divide the country, while Druze civilians trapped in the conflict reported killings, looting, and fear for loved ones' safety. The unrest poses the most serious challenge yet to Syria's post-Assad transition and has drawn international concern, including from the U.S. Obviously, you have to hope this ceasefire holds, but there have been difficulties maintaining a ceasefire already. So, I feel like this is going to be a story where we might have an update, unfortunately, very soon about this ceasefire. But good that there is one for now. Hopefully it holds. But, you obviously want to see Syria succeed in the post-Assad environment. But certainly there is a long road ahead for the country. And they have certainly a lot of problems to solve, which are not easily solvable. So we'll follow this story here, as well as these other stories. I'm sure as much as we've talked about the Epstein files, there's probably going to be more of that too. So if you want to hear more about that, you'll stay tuned right here on the DSR Daily. But we've got Words Matter later today. So if you are missing hearing from David, fear not, there will be a Words Matter with him on it later today, so you can get your fix, and we'll have Silly Consciousness tomorrow. So plenty more to listen to here on the DSR network, but we hope you'll join us again tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye.